My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm your first friend in Alaska, and luckily for you, I'm also an associate real estate broker in South Central Alaska. And today we're going to be talking about the things that disappoint people when they move to Alaska. Obviously, nowhere is going to be perfect. Everyone has expectations for areas when they make the investment and move somewhere new. And today we're just going to be talking about what those normal disappointments are for people when they move to Alaska. Before we do that though, give this video 2 big thumbs up, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let's get after it. One of the big disappointments for people right up front is that most people in Alaska, like by far, live in South Central Alaska, which it's more laid back than the lower 48. It's got incredible views. There's a lot of great stuff you can do, but it's not this off-grid experience that everyone is expecting when they're thinking about moving to Alaska. You'd be surprised how often I get the question of, well, do you guys even have grocery stores and conveniences? Do they have schools there? Like just basic stuff like that, where the expectation is that everybody is like living off-grid, and a lot of people are kind of disappointed when they find out that most people in the state live in South Central Alaska, and it's not really the off-grid environment that people are picturing. All right, this next one. Don't expect Alaska to fix you. I'm going to go Dr. Phil on you a little bit here, but if you are really struggling with some stuff, like you've got some demons, you're working on them, you're trying to change yourself, you're trying to improve, like you've got just some incredible issues that you're trying to work through, don't think just moving to Alaska or moving anywhere for that matter is going to fix you. You are just going to be bringing yourself to another location. So whatever you're dealing with, it's just going to be that plus some beautiful scenery, and that's going to be about the only difference. So sorry, got a little serious there, but that's one of the main things. Don't expect Alaska to fix you. There are going to be some components and elements, I'm sure, in whatever environment you currently have that Alaska is going to help with, but just know that just moving to another place does not mean you have completely avoided the fact that you're going to have to work through whatever issue it is that you currently have. So yeah, don't expect Alaska to fix you or every problem that you have. Okay, let's bring it down a little bit now. Let's get to something that's a little bit easier for everyone to digest here, and that is mosquitoes. Yes, there are mosquitoes in Alaska. Mosquitoes aren't isolated just to Louisiana and Florida and all these other swampy places. You get a lot of mosquitoes in Alaska. Really more so I've noticed around certain portions of the Matsu Valley. Like I've lived out in Wasilla for a number of years. Got a little bit of mosquitoes, not too bad though. Like there are some places where you get more to the interior where they're going to become more of an issue, like areas that are just really boggy and kind of wide open and boggy. Like you're going to have lots of issues with mosquitoes. Usually not so much in the South Central area. They're still there, but as long as you wear like a long sleeve shirt and have some kind of mosquito bug spray, you should be okay. And I know a lot of people have issues with DEET just as a product being in the bug repellent. For me, if it gets the mosquitoes off of me, give me all the DEET. I will dunk my head in an entire bucket of DEET if it means the mosquitoes aren't going to bug me. Now, for some people, some truly cold-blooded people, like the Walking Dead from Game of Thrones, pretty much, the winters in Alaska are not extreme enough for them. And that's disappointing for them because they were expecting like this negative 70-degree weather that they were accustomed to. That they were expecting because they were watching all these off-grid YouTube channels and all these survival, Revenant-style reality TV shows out there that is just not normal. Okay, you go from your heated house to your heated car to your heated work, and then you just do the exact same thing in reverse, and that's pretty much your day unless you go for a walk or something like that. And you're really not out there matching your wits against like nature and taking on the full fury of the winter or anything like that. That is just not our vibe up here for the most part. I know that it's there. It's usually just not our thing. And if that's what you're looking for, you're going to have to get here and then go looking for that specifically. Now, another disappointment for some people is that there is in fact still traffic in Alaska. Now I say that And a lot of people are actually going to roll their eyes at me because they're used to like the Dallases, the Miamis, the Seattles of the world, where it is just significant portions of your entire life is spent in that little steel box, just trying to listen to a podcast or, I don't know, Josh Groban or whatever you're into. Just trying to tune out all the insanity and the display of sin and human nature all the way around you in traffic. And they're just kind of used to that. And the idea of it taking, like 2 or 3, 4 cycles of a stoplight getting through Anchorage is just not really what a lot of people consider traffic. Other people, it's like they expect that they're going to get here to Alaska and they think that they're the first person to ever drive a car on the roads here. And they're just shocked that there's even a single other car out there, and that just ruins the whole thing for them. So just know, yes, there's going to be some traffic. It's not going to be anywhere close to what you're used to probably if you're coming from anywhere in a metropolis, but it's still going to be there, and you just have to be ready for it. So, cue up some Josh Groban and you'll be good to go. All right, let's go and take a bit of a break here real quick. For those of you who've been watching for any amount of time, you know that I do have a relocation guide for people considering moving to Alaska in the near future. I actually interview people who have recently moved up here and have them share their experiences, what they think, and really have them unpack, what is Alaska like? What is it really like for people who are living up here? So that's a great resource. The link for that is going to be in the description section down below. I also have the video podcast version on this channel. And also, just going to make a quick PSA. I've had a number of people tell me recently that, hey, watch your stuff all the time. I'll run into people up here, and I've heard this conversation multiple times lately from people who've moved up here, and that is, hey, love your stuff. We're closing on our house in like a couple days, and we wanted to work with you. You just seemed like you were so busy with all the content you put out on the YouTube channel. And I totally understand how that perception can be there, but my bread and butter, actual full-time job is selling real estate. It is not creating content for YouTube. Okay, I'm very strategic in how I go and create content for YouTube to make sure that I'm not I'm not interfering with the actual job of helping people get into homes. So if you're considering moving, if you're considering buying something in Alaska or considering moving to Alaska, do reach out to me. I've got plenty of time. I do very intentional about making sure I've got time to help people. So reach out to me. I'm not too busy, and that's out of the way. Let's keep moving forward. Now, another perception that people have about Alaska is that it is just this, this complete frontier style, idyllic wilderness, and it's just going to be like the little house on the prairie. And that's usually not what we have up here. Okay, you're not going to have that reality for the most part. You can go find it. Obviously, we do have some pretty sizable ranches. I looked online, and yeah, we've got some incredible ranches out there. So if you're looking for that, it's there. You're gonna have to go looking for it, but it is there. But for the most part, like 90% of the towns in this state is just like a Midwestern town with an incredible view. And that's really, by and large, going to be what the environment is like living up here. Now, this is a disappointment that a lot of people make when they're considering moving up to Alaska, and that is that a lot of people have to make a conscious decision to sacrifice their career advancement for the sake living in Alaska and having this lifestyle of living on the last frontier. And for some people, that is a really tough pill to swallow because their career is really important to them. And that might not necessarily be the case for everybody, but Alaska is really not. We haven't gotten to that point yet where we hit this point of critical mass with the population, where we have a ton of mid-level opportunities, and you can spend your entire life just climbing the ladder up here in Alaska and like some large company. That is by and large just not the job trajectory for a lot of careers up here. You can find them, but they're going to be kind of few and far between. So for a lot of people, it's disappointing that they're going to have to probably sacrifice some job opportunities down in the lower 48 in order to be up here in Alaska. And to that, I would just say only you can decide if that's going to be worth it to you. I will also say you can have anything that you want, but you can't have everything that you want. So if you want the Alaska lifestyle, you may or may not be able to have the career as well. You just have to decide between those, like which one is going to be more important to you. All right, moving on from our second Dr. Phil moment of this video, let's go and talk about healthcare costs a little bit. They can be expensive. And for some people where they have medical problems, this can be disappointing to the point where they actually can't live here anymore, just because it's so expensive for them to fly out of state to go to a specialist for whatever they have. And maybe disappointing is kind of watering down the emotions they must have at that point. But you can definitely see how that does make the list. Last but not least, a lot of hobbies up here in Alaska can be expensive. Now, not every hobby up here is expensive, and I mean, I love to go hiking. That's one of my favorite pastimes up here, and that costs exactly, the cost of admissions or the cost of parking, like $5 or whatever. I really should not be cheap and just go buy a season pass to some of these parks instead of paying like the $5 every time I show up. That's besides the point. But if you were really getting into like a lot of hunting, a lot of off-roading with ATVs, a lot of snow machining, even ice fishing with getting an auger and an ice tent and all that, these things do start to add up, and you can see how these things can really start getting expensive. So you can have the low-cost activities you can go and do and just kind of save some money, and that's fine. You're gonna have a lot of fun. And also, if you're wanting to get into the stuff where everybody talks about, doing this in Alaska, snow machining in Alaska or whatever, then just know that that's going to be expensive, and that might be a little prohibitive for some people. So just because you're up here does not mean by osmosis and proximity to people who do have snow machines that you're going to get snow machines or four-wheelers or all that other stuff too. Well, I don't know. Actually, it might. Just know that it's still going to come at a cost. You're not going to get it by osmosis and it be free. Let's just put it that way. That's been my video talking about the disappointments people have when they move to Alaska. Really hope it's been useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.